We need someone strong in the White House, someone who's going to fight for the working class. Will you come out to vote on Tuesday? Are you voting for Hillary?
She backed us up on the fight for 15, which is very important to my household.
She supports workers.
I'm 92 years old, and I'm out here every day.
She's the best candidate for the job.
I'm with Hillary.
I'm with her.
I'm with her.
I'm with her!
I have been so moved by your stories and your determination. The fast food workers risking their jobs to fight for a better deal.
I have supported the fight for 15. I was proud to stand on the stage with Governor Cuomo, with SEIU and others.
I remember her coming to our hospital. She walked a day in our nurses' shoes.
What really impressed me the most was what a tremendous amount of responsibility they have that only they can fulfill, that they're the ones who are really on the front lines.
We're going to work hard to make sure the Affordable Care Act works so that people can have reliable, affordable health care.
We really do appreciate you coming and talking with home care providers from all across the different states.
There's no doubt in my mind that you all will be in heaven taking care of people.
因为是照顾老人嘛，也经常有人来了解我们这个工作的辛苦。
Healthcare workers for Hillary.
One of the areas that I've been particularly interested in is the area of children.
She has always backed early childhood educators.
I believe that, we should give every child a chance to have access to preschool education.
None of us can function without good pay. I have to pay my mortgage, and if I don't pay my gas, my light, and my water, I cannot open my childcare.
We have to stand firmly together and united on behalf of your right to organize, your right to bargain collectively, your right to fight for the higher wages that reflect the value of your work.
I spent a lot of time last week being outraged by what's happening in Flint, Michigan, and I think every single American should be outraged.
I'm really glad that she is on national TV talking about Flint, Michigan. Now she's letting everybody know, and now we're in that spotlight, and now we're starting to get help.
Porque es una mujer que quiere luchar por nosotros, quiere un cambio para la comunidad inmigrante.
We're also going to continue the fight for comprehensive immigration reform with a path to earned legal status and citizenship.
When I listen to Donald Trump talking about building a wall to keep out immigrants, it scares me.
Instead of building walls, we're going to break down barriers.
I want my dad to vote for Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton wants everyone to be happy and their children to be with their parents.
I believe that Hillary Clinton will be one of our supporters when it comes down to racial equity.
We first have to acknowledge and believe that Black Lives Matter.
We can also break down the barriers of systemic racism and discrimination.
I know that Hillary will stand and support our union.
It was unions who fought for good wages, safe working conditions, and benefits that built the American middle class, and we're going to do it again.
When I say vote for, you say Hillary! Vote for Hillary! Vote for Hillary! Vote for Hillary! Vote for Hillary! 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 Here comes the fighter. That's what you say to me, say to me, say to me. This one's a fighter.
Good afternoon, sisters and brothers. I'm so proud of how we've spent the past day and a half forward together on our unstoppable movement for change. We are innovating and building a better movement. We are innovating and making sure that we create the next form of workers' collective power. This morning, we addressed and adopted our commitment to addressing the legacy of racial injustice. And this afternoon, we are going to continue to pave the path forward to win for families and our communities in 2016. As the political dialogue in this nation has unfolded, we know the stakes for November could not be higher. Voters have to choose between two very different visions for America. One that favors the wealthy and rigs the system in their selfish interests, and the other vision that fights to fix the broken economy and democracy like the one we're building and fighting for. Brothers and sisters, it is your energy and participation that has changed the debate on inequality in this country. We are standing with the super volunteers and the top 10 COPE contributors in the nation. Those are the member leaders that have joined us here on our stage. They are, yeah. We celebrated yesterday how we have unified around the Fight for 15 and a union voter agenda, and we know that in order to win for our families, we need to elect a champion in the White House. We believe that champion is Hillary Rodham Clinton. As you saw in the video, Hillary Clinton has spent time listening to child care workers and home care workers and the parents of children and the daughters and sons of elders who are working their level best to make ends meet in an economy that is no longer working for the majority of people in this country. She has heard our stories, and she has proposed her solutions to help each and every one of us get ahead. And like many of the incredible member volunteers you heard from in the video, I am joined by an SEIU brother, Terrell Williams. Terrell is a home care provider from New Haven, Connecticut, who works 7 days a week. Terrell works 7 days a week, like most home care providers in this nation, but still found time to knock doors and talk to voters about why Hillary Clinton is the right candidate to fight, deliver, and win on our issues and for families all across this country. Last month, Hillary Clinton came to his hometown and sat down with him, and we wanted Terrell to tell his story to you.
Woo. Thank you, Mary Kay. My name is Terrell Williams. I'm a home care worker, member of SEIU District 1199, New England. Woo! Yeah, so last month we had the privilege of Hillary Clinton coming to my hometown, and she asked to sit down with some of the workers in our field and to go over some of what our issues are and to get a picture of what it's like day in and day out for us, our struggles. What moved me the most about that, what I just said, is the fact that she actually wanted to sit down and have a conversation with us as workers. And I think that shows her dedication to finding out solutions for our issues. When she talked to us, she was very attentive. She listened to everything that we said. She looked at us in our eyes, and she gave us her plan to fix the issues that we face day to day. I chose to go into home care because my mother became sick, and I realized the best way to control her quality of care would be for me to provide it myself. Now, thank you. Yes. I fell in love with the work, and now I also provide care for 3 other people with disabilities. But because of the hour cap, that we're only allowed to work 25 hours per consumer, and the low wages, I'm still forced to work 7 days a week, 60 to 70 hours a week. So when we spoke to Hillary, she heard our struggle. And Hillary understood that it's not right for someone to work 7 days a week and still be making poverty level wages. Hillary knows that it's not right for the people that we work for because it also decreases their quality of care. She knows that we need to raise wages, and Hillary also knows that we need a union. Hillary knows that when you pay, yes. Hillary knows that when you pay home care workers or child care workers, airport workers, when you pay workers more money, it increases the stability of life for them. Not only for them, but also for the people who they care for. When we sat down, she shared her plans to fix these challenges we face, to raise wages, to make caregiving jobs better jobs, and also to help deal with some of the barriers that we have to deal with, make it so hard for us to get ahead. She heard us then, and I'm so excited that you'll get to hear from her today what we heard from her back then. And I know that she is the right woman for the job and the candidate to fight, deliver, and win for us on these issues.
Thank you so much, Terrell. You represented the 64 million people all across this nation who are living and working each and every day in order to make ends meet, but who are committed to building a movement that's powerful enough to unite with the next President of the United States and finally make this work, living wage work, that we can feed our families on and expect that our kids are going to do better. Please join me, SEIU, in welcoming the next President of the United States. She is a woman that will fight on our issues, deliver on her agenda, and we are going to use every ounce of this union's energy to ensure that she is the next President of the United States, Hillary Rodham Clinton.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong.
Hello, SEIU! It is so great to be here as you gather and take Detroit by storm, and I am so honored to be here to congratulate all of you on the incredible progress you continue to make under your president, Mary Kay Henry. Secretary Treasurer Jerry Hudson. And all of your executive vice presidents. You know, standing behind me are some of the SEIU members that I've had the great honor of meeting over the past year. Thank you, Terrell, for sharing your story. I was so touched by what you had to say and the others with whom I met, just from Chicago to LA to New Haven and places in between, to hear what you do, how you do it, how you love doing it, but how it's becoming impossible to continue the work you love in childcare, home health care, if you do not have a living wage. I am here to tell you I join with you to do everything we can to make sure that the men and women of SEIU who are providing care for our children, our elderly, people with disabilities, you all have a living wage. Now, I do sort of wish that the presumptive Republican nominee could have been around to hear the stories that I heard. Maybe then he wouldn't say that wages are too high in this country. Maybe he would finally open his ears and listen to what working people everywhere are saying, that America needs a raise. I really can't think of a better way to start this week than standing with the brothers and sisters of SEIU. You help to keep America healthy, care for our loved ones, help people with disabilities live independently. You keep our cities, our states, and our schools running. You clean our buildings and protect our communities. So today I want to say something that I don't think you hear enough. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know that you are often unsung heroes. And I want you to know this: your fights are my fights. Just like the theme of this conference says, together we are unstoppable. And I'm thrilled to see so many friends from my home state of New York here today. And friends from across the country who have helped me in this primary campaign. You've braved the snow in Iowa, the rain in South Carolina. You've knocked on doors in New Hampshire. You got on buses to come to Nevada. Everywhere I go these days, purple t-shirts are out in force. Like a lot of great things about America, this campaign is union built, and I could not be prouder. You have had my back, and I will always have yours. Because as I've traveled the country, I've had the chance, really the privilege, to talk with healthcare workers and home care workers and child care workers and fast food workers and airport workers and janitors and nurses. I've heard again and again, there has never been more at stake for working families in America than right now. This election, my friends, from where I stand, is about knocking down all of the barriers that hold families and workers back, building ladders of opportunity in their place, coming together to get incomes rising and creating more jobs that provide dignity and pride. That's what SEIU has always fought for. And with your help, we are going to win in November. You know, I am the granddaughter of a factory worker who operated a loom at the Scranton Lace Works in Pennsylvania. My father put everything he had into a small fabric printing shop in Chicago. My mother was out on her own working as a housemaid at the age of 14. So I grew up respecting the dignity of hard work and what it takes to provide a good middle-class life where you really can believe that your children will be better off than you have been. So that's why I believe that when unions are strong, America is strong. There is no doubt, even though some may try to question it, unions help build the strongest middle class in the history of the world right here in the United States. SEIU is not only part of that noble tradition, you've been on the front lines of the fight for affordable health care, safe working conditions, and fair, predictable schedules. And today, you're leading the movement to raise the minimum wage. which will lift 35 million working Americans out of poverty. You know, in fact, the American labor movement pioneered the basic bargain that made our country great. If you work hard and you do your part, you should be able to get ahead and stay ahead. So, you're not just fighting for your members, you're fighting for all working families. And I'm proud to be in the trenches fighting alongside you, because I also know strong families are the backbone of our economy and our country. So to everyone here, to all of you who have ever faced a hostile legislature, a union-busting governor, or both, help is on the way. We are going to defend the right to organize, protect collective bargaining. Let's make the jobs of the future good union jobs that can't be outsourced. And let's say what we all know. Right to work is wrong for workers and wrong for America. I know that, and you know that, and it's time we make sure everybody knows that. Because thanks to the determination and sacrifice of working people like you all over our country, and because of the leadership of President Obama, we've worked our way back from the worst financial crisis in a generation. You see, I don't think the president gets the credit he deserves for saving our economy. But our work is far from finished. I've heard from so many families who are still struggling. Corporate profits keep going up, and so do everyday living expenses. But paychecks for most people still are not growing the way they should. Too many families worry about how to keep the lights on and the rent paid. Parents run themselves ragged trying to balance responsibilities at home and work. And it can be even harder for parents raising kids with special needs or chronic illnesses. Like LaTonya Allen, a home care worker I met from Atlanta. Her 29-year-old daughter has cerebral palsy. LaTonya is working around the clock to support her family on $9 an hour. She has no benefits, no vacation, no sick days. So when she got hurt on the job, she went to work on crutches with a broken bone in her hip. She is not asking for life to be easy. It ain't no crystal staircase. She knows that. But no one should have to choose between taking care of their health or paying their bills. LaTonya works hard. She works hard to do right by her family. She deserves a country that will do right by her. And that is what's at stake in this election, because the families that I've met across the country, they come from different backgrounds, they earn different incomes, but they all desperately want to give their kids a good life. And they're up against pressures and problems too big for them to solve on their own. In many ways, our economy and our workplaces are built still for a different time, when many mothers stayed home, when one parent could earn enough to support a family. Don't you think it's time, finally, that we catch up to how American families actually live and work in today's world? Well, I sure do.
That's why I've been laying out an agenda, and I thank SEIU for helping me with that agenda, Mary Kay. First, we've got to do more to raise families' incomes. Let's start by raising the federal minimum wage. And let's support local and state efforts to go even higher. I am proud to stand with SEIU and workers across America organizing in the fight for $15 and a union. Every worker everywhere in America deserves a fair wage and a voice on the job. So thank you for leading this fight, because when we fight, we win. And let's also fight for paid family leave. Too many moms, and a lot of them right here today, too many moms have to go back to work just days after their babies are born. Like the home care worker I met from Minnesota, who had to return a week after having a C-section. How else was she going to put food on the table for a toddler and a new baby? And too many dads and parents of adopted children don't get any paid leave at all. Neither do sons and daughters struggling to take care of their aging parents. None of this is fair to families. Donald Trump may not care, but we do. And so do working families across our country. We know America is better than this. So let's finally guarantee equal pay for women. After all, it's 2016. Don't you think it's about time? When a woman is paid unfairly and unequally, that doesn't just shortchange her, it shortchanges her whole family. Let's encourage more employers, both in the private and the public sector, to embrace family-friendly policies like predictable scheduling. Together, we'll do whatever we can to fight to finally put quality child care within the reach of every family. You know that in many states, child care is more expensive than rent. It's more expensive even than college tuition. That puts parents in an impossible position. Just ask Artheta Peters from Cleveland, Ohio. She loves her job caring for an 8-year-old with a muscle disease, but she doesn't earn enough to afford child care for her own children. So she's forced to leave them at home with an older sibling. It breaks her heart, but she doesn't have a choice. In fact, in some states, 2 parents earning the minimum wage have to spend about 20% of their income on child care. For a single parent, it's 40%. That is way too high. Let's make it so no family ever has to spend more than 10% of their income for child care. And let's give child care workers a raise. Right now, dog trainers are paid more than child care workers. You know, look, I believe in training dogs. But you don't dress your dog up and send your dog to kindergarten, do you? You don't dream of sending your dog to college, do you? You don't worry about whether your dog is going to be exposed to dangerous influences because you can't afford quality child care, do you? This is crazy. There's nothing more important than our children. And when I sat down with SEIU members in Chicago, I heard one heartbreaking story after another from parents who can't afford to give their own children the care that they give other people's kids every day. So as president, I will support states and cities that take steps to increase pay for child care providers and early educators. We're going to make child care more affordable at the same time for families. I will also launch a care workers initiative across every level of government. Over and over again, home care and child care workers that I've met with across the country have told me they want more chances to increase their skills. So let's work together to create more opportunities so that workers who are caring for others can grow in their jobs and fight for fair wages. Let's give them a chance to come together to make sure their voices are heard, and we have a stronger, better system for the people who do this vital work. And I'll tell you what, if we are serious about doing all of this and supporting families, we have to also be serious about facing up to the reality of systemic racism. And that means dismantling the school-to-prison pipeline once and for all. We have a moral obligation to fight for justice and equity everywhere, and that includes ending the era of mass incarceration, rebuilding the trust between law enforcement and communities, and putting a stop to the horror of young African Americans being killed by police or dying in police custody. We owe that to our children, and we owe it to the parents whose children have been so tragically taken from them. That's why I'm proud that SEIU members across the country are standing up for criminal justice reform and calling for environmental and economic justice for every community. I will be right by your side every step of the way. And there's one more thing I want you to help on, and that is ending the epidemic of gun violence that kills 33,000 Americans a year. We need comprehensive background checks, close the online loophole, close the gun show loophole, close what's called the Charleston loophole, stop the unaccountability of gun makers and sellers. Saturday night, I was in Fort Lauderdale with mothers who have lost their children to gun violence, including Trayvon Martin's mother. There were mothers from Chicago and Washington, from New York, from Sandy Hook. Mothers joined together not only in grief and loss, but in courage and resolve. They're going to do everything they can, and I am going to help them every way I can. I am committed to doing all we must to help save lives. And I'll tell you right now, the gun lobby doesn't intimidate me, and it shouldn't intimidate anybody. Supporting all families in all ways is a necessity. And when I talk about families, and what I want to see us do to stay true to our values and give every single person in this country a chance to live up to his or her God-given potential, Mr. Trump likes to say I'm playing the woman card. Well, you know what I say? If fighting for equal pay and paid family leave and raising the minimum wage and affordable child care is playing the woman card, then deal me in. You know, it shouldn't surprise us that he has a very different take on all of this, because at a time when families are struggling to pay for child care and so much else, Donald Trump actually stood on a debate stage and argued that Americans are being paid too much. He actually talked. Hear this, because you need to tell your friends. He actually talked about getting rid of the national minimum wage altogether. Shouldn't be surprising. He's hired union busters to break up organizing campaigns on the properties that he owns. But we're not talking about any ordinary anti-union, anti-worker Republican. A lot of Republicans themselves say Donald Trump is a disaster waiting to happen to America. What little we know of his economic policies would be running up our debt, starting trade wars, letting Wall Street run wild. All of that could cause another crash and devastate working families and our country. Trump economics is a recipe for lower wages, fewer jobs, more debt. He could bankrupt America like he's bankrupted his companies. I mean, ask yourself, how can anybody lose money running a casino, really? And that's not all. I hear every day from families who are afraid of what a Donald Trump presidency would mean for millions of immigrants living and working in America. $16 million people in America are part of what's called mixed status families, where some loved ones are citizens and some aren't. Maybe the children were born here, but one or both parents are undocumented. I'm sure some of you have families like that. And these are not just statistics, are they? We're talking about real people. Men, women, and children. We're talking about neighbors, co-workers, and friends. A few months ago in Las Vegas, I met a 10-year-old girl named Carla Ortiz. She started to cry as she told me that her parents had a letter of deportation, and she was scared they would be taken away from her. In a lot of ways, Carla is a typical bright fifth grader. She loves science experiments, math, and Charlotte's Web. But she leaves for school every day terrified that her mom and dad, who are working hard to support their family, won't be there when she gets home. Her parents had to take her to a heart specialist who explained that living in constant fear was making her little heart beat dangerously fast. So when Donald Trump talks about deporting 11 million immigrants, he's talking about ripping apart families like Carla's. He's talking about sending a deportation force to schools, workplaces, and homes to round up moms, dads, grandparents, even children. When he talks about ending birthright citizenship, he's talking about kicking children who are born here out of the only country they know. And when he calls immigrants rapists and murderers, he's talking about families like Carla's and many of yours. You know, the most important measure of any society is how we treat those at the beginning, our children, and those at the end, the elderly. What kind of country would we be if we let Donald Trump rip our families apart. We have to reject this wrong vision for America with a strong, clear voice. We have to stand up for hardworking American families, and that includes hardworking immigrant families. Mom and dad should be preparing their kids for their futures, not for the possibility that they could be hauled away at any moment. In my first 100 days as president, I will introduce comprehensive immigration reform. And I will build on President Obama's executive actions and keep going, fighting every day to fix our broken immigration system and keep families together. Now, these are just some of the reasons why this is one of the most important elections in our lifetimes. The only thing standing between Donald Trump and the Oval Office is all of us. We are coming to the end of the Democratic primaries. I applaud Senator Sanders and his supporters for challenging us. We are going to get unaccountable money out of politics. We are going to take on the crisis of income inequality. And we are going to unify the Democratic Party and stop Donald Trump. There is so much more that unites us than divides us. And we're going up against a candidate who will pull us backwards on every issue we care about. We need a president who will use the bully pulpit to stand up for working families. But the last thing we need is a bully in the pulpit. And nobody knows better than a union like SEIU that the only way to stand up to a bully is to stand up together. So that is what I want to do with all of you. It's what unions are about. It's what I've been about my entire life, ever since I went to work for the Children's Defense Fund. We're going to have each other's back. We're going to lift each other up. We're going to leave no one behind. We're going to build a better future, not just for ourselves, but for the hardworking people and their children across America. That's how we will be our best. The lesson of the labor movement, the lesson of America's history through good times and hard times is that we are stronger together. So let's keep fighting. Let's keep working. Let's win an election in November and make sure our country is the country that we know represents our best values, not our worst. Thank you, and God bless you.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me. Losing friends and I'm chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep. Say I'm in too